You're beautiful.
Morning, Sideways Dutch.
Now, wait a minute. I just can't believe your age.
Thank you.
I just don't believe it.
As I'm
It's
looking
just-
at my blush, which is way too bright today. Okay, go on.
Just don't believe it. You got the wisdom, but
That only comes with age.
you don't have the wrinkles, and you got the smile and everything else that goes with it. So I mean, I heard a number the other day, but I just don't believe it.
Well, I am very grateful for that. And also my husband is quite a bit younger. So it's kind of nice that, because I was worried. I'm like, what's going to happen when I'm 70 and you're not? I'm like, that's going to look weird because his family doesn't get gray hair. They just keep their hair color. And I'm like almost all the way to the very, very end, except for maybe a little at the temples. It's disgusting, frankly, but whatever. Let's dig into some today's stuff. I've been running across some cool things, and it's just kind of been in my head, playing with the concept and the idea. And one of the things, well, I was working with somebody yesterday, and they told me that they were locked out of Facebook, and that's their primary mode of lead generation is Facebook. And they're like, ugh. And then they were telling me the other things that were kind of going on wrong. And lo and behold, as I'm looking up something I want to show you guys, bless you, honey. Lo and behold, they realized also that their email follow-up system hasn't been working. And so there's hundreds of people that haven't gotten responses, and their Facebook's shut down for a week. And I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, as we're going through, there's like 18 things that have, they just had the week from hell, right? I'm going through some stuff and I'm like, if you have hundreds of people, do you have access to them? And they were like, yes. And I'm like, can't you email those people? I mean, they haven't gotten any emails. I mean, can't you use that as a lead generation thing until you can get your Facebook, out of Facebook jail? And then, we got to consider whatever it is you got to do to get where you're off of. That's the problem with putting your business on Facebook, is that Facebook then controls your business, and Instagram, Facebook, all those. There's nothing wrong with it. Just know that he that turneth on and has a power can also be he that turneth off, So anyway, so we came up with some solutions to get them through the next week until they're out of Facebook jail. And then I really viewed it as this great opportunity to show the holes in the business, which we all have, and then to expose it. And then by exposing it, it brought it up to the light where we could go, oh, hang on. This is a problem that has, way deeper than just right here. And, let's rearrange things or let's do something about the problem, right? Not just put a Band-Aid on it, but actually go down to the root and do something about it. So that was kind of the concept that got me thinking. So hold that thought in your head of there was a problem, and in that very problem, the solution presented itself, and the problem had been there for a while, just sort of low. Like, you guys ever had a car where the car starts making a funky noise and you're like, really should deal with that. But maybe it's not, and then you don't, and then something really bad happens with the car or whatever, right? And suddenly your car, which used to be a vehicle to get you from point A to point B, is now just a bunch of metal that doesn't do anything until you get it fixed. Yep. Me too. My car didn't stop on me. It just suddenly wasn't acting right. And when I took it in, they were like, one of your, I don't know, fuel injectors or something wasn't working. And I'm like, that's why she didn't have any get up and go. And you can't let problems like that continue. So, but hold that concept of a problem that's sort of knocking at your door that you're sort of not dealing with. And then the other thing that's been playing across my mind so much lately, and I know I take weird things and put them together, but that's how the brain works. This one anyway, is this game that I've actually talked about before, called Mastermind. And I was showing Greg last night because I'm like, it came up again. And I'm like, this flipping game, share screen.
Somebody talked about it. That's why.
I did, because somebody said something else that reminded me, the way they problem solve reminded me of Mastermind. And I'm like, yeah, it's just like Mastermind. And I'm just so grateful that I played. So I'm going to back up this game right here, Mastermind, and I'll explain it in 1 second. But I am a game geek. And I'm not even joking, like I flipping love games. I like all card games, just games. I love them. I'm not so much a Nintendo-y person. I'm more of a puzzly person. So like if I did two Nintendo-y things, it's things like Tetris and stuff like that. They're puzzles. So I like puzzles, and my favorite kinds of games are the ones that are deceptively simple. Super simple, massively complicated. That's what I really, really love. If you can boil the essence of something down to a very simple thing, then you can really start to play with strategy and things like that. And that just intrigues the hell out of me. So this game. So I had this game when I was a kid. There's 6 different colors of pegs here. And this little flat closes so that your opponent sitting over here can't see it. And you place, without them knowing, any series of colors of pegs here of those 6 colors. And you can repeat, like you could have purple, purple, red, red if you wanted to, or all purples, it doesn't matter. You have any combination thereof of these 6 colors. And then the person over here on the other end does some random guess of the pegs. And then you tell them there's red and white or black and white, but the white says you have the right color in the wrong spot. And the red says you have the right color in the right spot, but you don't know what lines up to what. So for instance, this white peg right here is because they have a blue one. They have 2 blues and 2 yellows. This is actually green and blue. It's hard to see, but that is a green and a blue. So they have 1 peg right. So he just gives them, you have 1 peg right. It's in the wrong spot, but you don't know if it's this one, this one, this one, or this one. And then you keep on guessing until you get all 4 colors right in the right order. And you can even make the game harder if you want to, because if you both agree, you could have blank spots down here. So it just gets to be it's a really interesting game. And the thing that this taught me was that the fastest thing I wanted was a completely wrong answer. So if I would have guessed this blue, blue, yellow, yellow, and I had none of them right, I know I only have to deal with red, purple, green, whatever the hell the other color is. I can't tell. It doesn't look like it's on this board, black, let's say. Then I could just toss out all that. It now becomes completely irrelevant, and I could just deal with what's left, and I will get my answer. If I can get all wrong, especially off the first answer, I will win this in like, if you guess all the way to here, your opponent wins. This person wins because he stumped you. You guess before, then you win, and then you keep score of how many guesses over here. And I can flipping win this game by forcing wrong answers. I will purposely force a wrong answer. And that's how I will kick your butt at this game. And I will kick your butt at this game. So I'm going to close that off. Okay, so that's Mastermind. Trying to figure out what to do by getting rid of all the wrong answers. Okay, 3rd concept, and the last one I promise I want you to hold in your head. So things knocking at your door, problems that are unaddressed that eventually turn into catastrophes or mini catastrophes or whatever the hell they turn into. And Mastermind are trying to get the wrong answer as fast as possible to figure out a solution to something. The 3rd thing, and the last I promise, and then we'll weave them all together, that I want. Brianna, I am going to, okay, hi, good morning, sweetie. I'm going to catch you up super fast. So have you ever had a problem, and you're the last one I'm catching up just because I love you. Have you ever had like something like you hear wrong with your car or something like that, and you're like, oh, I should get that taken care of, and you kind of ignore it, and then it all goes to hell and your car doesn't work anymore. So we're talking about a couple of different concepts. That concept of having that vague uneasiness that there's a problem, not addressing it, and then everything blowing to hell. It's like, I should have done that. Okay,
like my life.
Like mine. So I completely understand that one. I had a vague, uneasy, this marriage sucks for 20 years and didn't do anything about it. So, and then let me see, let's mute this Dutch. Okay, gotcha. And then this concept called Mastermind, which is this game right here, which you have to guess
Mhm.
colors. And did you ever play this, or you know about this?
Yes. Yeah, I
Okay.
had it.
Okay. See, it's a cool game, right?
Yeah.
Super simple, but did you ever try and get the wrong answer as fast as possible? Because then you knew it wasn't any of those colors. Okay, well, that's what I used to do. I used to work really hard to get as soon as I could, I tried to get the wrong answer, because then I knew that those colors were not used in this at all. Okay, so that concept. So trying to get a wrong answer. Third and last concept to weave in together. We've talked before, and I'm a huge aficionado of the fact that we are the author of our own stories. We write them, we create them, we are the author. And while we're the author of our stories, we are also, which is such a, I love that concept, that I am, for the most part, the author of my story. In addition to that, we are also the reader of our story. We're the protagonist of our story. We might be the antagonist of our story. We might be whatever, but we write it, we read it, we're in it, we tell it. That's what we are. That is what our life is about. And if we really want to change things, we need to change our stories. Immanuel Kant said this. He said, if you're not the author of your story, if you're not, everyone's life's a story. If you're not writing it, by the way, this is a butchered paraphrase, but whatever. If you're not the author, trust me, you're in somebody else's story, and you might not be the character you want to be. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And which is true, because we're in everybody else's story too, and they're placing us as the character they want to place us, wherever that is. And that's, we need to author our own story. We are in everyone else's stories also, but we also need to author our own story, because then we get to control what, to a degree, what we are and what character we are and how this thing plays out. And maybe if our stories are tragedies, maybe that's not our stories that we're living out. Maybe it's somebody else's story. Maybe it's my mom's story. Maybe it's my ex's story, whatever, but I don't want to live out that story. I want to live out a story that's decent, that, has a happy ending at the end and not some tragic, god awful thing. So our stories, as we're moving through them, are we live in like frames. And the interesting thing into what we live in is, we can change our frames to a degree, but we're still living in a frame. No matter what, you're here on this earth, physical things, and, things get in our way and all that kind of stuff. And we have goals and all that. But there's an interesting thing with goals and framing and such. And it's this: if I am here and my goal is to, walk across the street and touch the neighbor's garage. Well, then I walk across the street and touch the neighbor's garage. And I'm like, yeah, I hit my goal. Awesome. That's my goal. I walk across the street, I hit the neighbor's garage. But if my goal is to get inside my neighbor's house through the garage, and the garage door is shut and nobody's home, the very same garage is now an obstacle. The very same thing that was the goal is now the obstacle. So we can reframe what's going on. And then the very thing that was the obstacle, or the very thing that was the goal, now all of a sudden, wait, the frame has changed. I've changed it. Life has changed it. The car broke down, whatever. And now it's the obstacle. All right. So what was the goal is now the obstacle. As we're running across things in our paths, there are only 4 different things you will ever run across in your path. I thought this was the part that was like, okay, hang on, I got to play with this one a while. The first thing that you'll run across in your path, and no matter what, you're going to run across people, and people sort of their own character, their own segment, because people are complicated and you can't reduce them to mere objects or whatever else. So there's people. So there's that. And then out of the 3 things that are left, there are either obstacles, but the thing with obstacles, there's obstacles, there's tools, and there's stuff that's irrelevant. Okay, so there's obstacles, tools, irrelevant, and then there's people, and people I'm just going to put over here because it doesn't apply into this, and you can't claim a person, well, you can claim it as an obstacle or a tool or irrelevant, but probably not wise, because they got a lot of things going on and they're complicated. They could be all 3 and none. So we don't look at objects as objects. In our brain, what we really look at, because we're tool making creatures, is tools. And we think oh, look, there's a shovel that is an object and I can use it to dig a hole or hit somebody or bury the dead bodies. But that's not really how the brain thinks. The way the brain really thinks is there's a tool. I could dig a hole with that tool. I could, bury the dead bodies or, whatever. That tool, I'm going to name it, and that's a shovel. And that's really how the brain thinks. It's tools. The world is filled with tools because we're tool creating creatures, or we're tool using creatures. And so the world around us is really tools. So there's either tools that are in front of us, all around us, or there are obstacles. There's the garage door that I can't get through on my own. I have to break it down, burn it down, knock on the, I have to do something. It's an obstacle in my way. Or there's a million other things around you, but they're relevant because my goal is to get inside that house. And the fact that there's grass and trees and butterflies and dogs and somebody on a lawnmower and all that's irrelevant, completely and utterly irrelevant. So and we want to find what is irrelevant as fast as possible to clear it out of the way. Because if we can clear out of our path the things that are irrelevant, then we can focus in on, is the thing in front of me a tool or is it an obstacle? Or is it people? And people have its own category. But is it a tool or is it an obstacle? And as I'm moving forward, I don't need to worry about this stuff. I just need to worry about a tool and obstacle. That's it. And that's what I want to get my life refocused to, the situation, as fast as possible, so I can view the situation that is in front of me, i.e. my car's broken down or whatever, as, okay, what kind of tools and what kind of obstacles do I have? What needs to happen? So Mastermind came into play because that's where my brain immediately went, because my goal was always to get rid of all the irrelevant. Oh, there's no blues and no reds. They're irrelevant. Get them out of here. Oh, there's only yellow, purple, black, and green or whatever. Oh, okay. All right. So, and I know, and then I just start focusing through. But it's to find the problem so that I can get rid of it and it doesn't exist anymore. It's completely irrelevant. Now, with all of that put in together, some components of this thing, of this tool, obstacle, problems, irrelevance, and moving forward in life with goals. One, problems are the second law of thermodynamics. The second law of thermodynamics says that everything, it's entropy. Everything's going to decay, rust, turn to dust, whatever. And you can just look around you and see that one. I mean, everything around us decays. That's just what it does. So if we have a situation like this guy had, some issues around Facebook on a continual basis, the really low level stuff, I think that's the universe or God or whatever it is you want to call it. And I'm okay with whatever you call it, but it's something that's out here going, hey, look, I matter and you need to pay attention to me. You need to pay attention to me. Warning sign, warning sign, warning sign, bam. Right. And the second law of thermodynamics says, if you don't deal with this thing that is right here on the periphery, trying to get attention for you, it's going to turn to shit. It's going to, you leave it alone, it's going to decay, rust, fall apart, crumble, whatever it is. That's what life does. Right. So it just is what it does. And I can't tell you how many times in my personal life, I've heard a little tiny voice which says, do this, and then I don't. And then 30 seconds later, it bites me. And it might be just minor. Like, Gina, you really need to make sure that you grab this before you leave the house. And I'll walk up to my car and I'm like, you have to go have that. You need that. Like, why? And why I don't listen to the little voice more often, I could kick my own butt for, because I'm like, oh, I don't need that. And then, so when you're hearing a little voice or you've got something on the periphery that's telling you to pay attention to it, it's probably not going to get better on its own. And something is telling you, pay attention to this thing. And then as you're paying attention to the thing, the first thing, well, besides doing whatever the thing is tell you, deal with whatever the thing is telling you to deal with, right? Deal with it, or at least schedule to deal with it, but deal with it, because it's telling you there's a problem. We got to look at it. We got to look at this. We got to look at this. We got to look at this. And then the second part is get rid, as you're looking at it, there's obstacles, tools, irrelevance, and people. So figure out what is irrelevant as fast as humanly possible. Just it's so you can get it off your plate, clear it all out, and you can focus in on these are the things that matter. I have obstacles, tools, and I have people. And that's what matters. And in order to be able to deal with the situation, I need to know which is which. And if all else fails, reframe the whole damn thing. Like, all right, so my new goal is that I don't want to get inside of his house now. Maybe I did, but I realized I don't need to get inside of his house. The answers that I'm looking for are actually, because now I've got tools and obstacles, and I've got these tools over here. My answer is actually over this direction. It's not that direction. I thought it was, but it's not. It's this direction. So that's been what's been on my mind lately, and these weird things that I'll constantly trying to put together, or that my brain just puts together on the obstacles, the tools, and the reframing. So thoughts on that crazy stuff of putting things together. Morning, Kay, who
Good
came
morning.
in. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, whatever.
No, it makes total sense to me. I mean, I had an issue, and it was like, okay, I have to stop, and I have to quit doing what I'm doing. I have to get in, I have to go to the broker room, I have to ask a question, or I have a client I need to call and ask. Like my listing yesterday kept bothering me because I have these 2 listings, but they're not going to sell, and they don't want me to put it on the market right away. And I learned from the broker I need to put it on anyway into Sky Slope. So I have to get the information, and I have one form that has to get signed. So I was afraid to call her and ask her, because I was going to do a sell now, move later with Zoodealio for her. And I called her and I said, what if we went ahead and listed and sold your house, and you could move in with your daughter until your new house is ready? Oh, no, I can't do that. That's not an option. That's too many moves. I cannot do it. So it just immediately got rid of that option.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
I don't know why I was so afraid to ask the question and step into it. You know, that old procrastination bug gets my butt every time.
And I completely understand with the weird being afraid to ask the strange questions and those kinds of things. And I'm also walking into that in my own personal life with just stupid stuff where I'm like, oh, I don't want to have this conversation with this person. I like my dumb neighbor who the fence blew down and then said she was going to buy Brianna, have a good weekend, who said that she was going to fix it and then moved out. And I was like, I have this bad feeling that something's going on here. And I'm like, sure enough, she's moved out. And I think she told my new neighbors, and I'm like, great, now I get to have that conversation, which is I ignored this nagging feeling, did not deal with it. And now I get to go talk to my new neighbor. And I told my husband, I'm like, there's one of 3 situations. Either she didn't disclose the damn thing, in which case I'm going to like throw her to the dogs. She did disclose it and they don't care. That's an option, could be. Or she propped the fence up so it looked fixed, and they don't think there's any problem at all. And now it looks like there's a big problem because, of course, this first gust of wind, you know. But either way, I get my new neighbor hasn't moved in yet. I don't know when the hell they're moving in. I haven't seen anything. Maybe this weekend. I get to go have a conversation with my new neighbor. Oh, by the way, the fence blew down, and we need to split the cost. I don't have a problem with splitting the cost, although I'm pissed off at her. But I'm pretty sure, based upon that one day that I thought the fence was fixed because it was wedged up in there perfect, and I was like, oh, cool, right? I see my fence, it looks perfect. All right, she's going to send over the guy, and we're going to pay our half of the bill. And nope, no, it's not what happened. So, and I didn't want to, and it was stupid. Why do I care? It's stupid. So for me in my life, like there's just hard conversations I need to have, and that's just the way that it is, you know. And it's not going to be, it's just that this is just, you know, the conversation I need to have. This has to happen. So any other thoughts? And Kathy, you are right. It is like Sudoku, because you want to know immediately there's no 5s in this whole section, or there is a 5 and all the rest of them are irrelevant. Isn't Sudoku the one with the 1 through 9, and it has 9 and 9? Kathy's on mute, and Kathy walked away and is ignoring me.
That is Sudoku.
Okay, good. All right, that thing, yes. It is, you want to get rid of the answer as fast as humanly possible so that you know that there's no more, and then, work your way through it. So, all right. Any other thoughts or anything around this entropy reframing obstacle tool thing? Oh, I know the last one. That old phrase, WWJD, the psychological equivalent, the psychological, I don't want to use the word equivalent, tool that aligns up with that is, and we've talked about this before too, it's not a Socratic method, I can't remember who came up with it, whatever. It's when I'm in the forest of my weeds and I can't see it, it's to step out and go, so if Gina Hansen was doing this, what would Gina Hansen do? And then it forces you outside to look at it as a third party objective, like I did with this other person, and go, hang on, we have an obstacle here. We need to be able to, we have a problem that we knew was going to be a problem. We didn't deal with it. So we have that. So that's our lesson. We have an obstacle, which is this is our form of lead generation, can't do it. And then where are our tools? Our tools over here. And we have a database now of like, I don't even know how many hundreds of people that haven't gotten any of their responses. And so this can become that, well, we're fixing this that we knew was a problem. So that is also really helpful to step outside and look at that, which is why coaching works really good. And my coach has been working with me on getting me asking the questions, just make me step back and take a look at it and go, oh, that doesn't work anymore, does it? Oh, okay. All right. This is the change that needs to happen. So, all right, I'm done talking. It's 9 o'clock and I'm done talking. Do you guys have anything? I know. There you go.
Yeah. What difference does it make to me?
If you don't, what? If I'm done talking?
No. Well, there's all sorts of levels there. Not that. That would be insulting and rude.
I have the power.
The different levels. The different
Okay.
levels. The
Yeah.
only one that's really important to me are
Yeah.
the people.
The people.
The obstacles, the tools, and the irrelevant are 5%, 5%, 5%, or a 1, 1, 1, and a 1. And the people are 5 only because I'm service oriented and I don't want to leave somebody pissed off, ground up, messed up. My service is to help them and keep a good relationship. So nothing else really matters. I mean, I would use the tools to do that if I could, but it's the people that are paramount in the relationship. I can find somebody, like my wife told me a couple of nights ago after listening to the mastermind. She said, because we've been discussing KV Core, she said, you got to find somebody. You need to find somebody to teach me KV Core because I just can't learn it myself. I said, Gina said she would teach you a paper method of keeping these, but I don't like it. I'd rather use KV Core because I know it's a powerful tool. But there's a people problem with tools, and to keep the people happy, I do have to use a tool, but it's a number one. But it would make life easier. So that's a good system. I don't mind it, but it's the people that's the most important to me.
It really, really
Lisa.
is. It's what we're not islands. I was stuck for a month. I think I think I came back from Tennessee a month ago. I don't know, but it was at least 3 weeks ago. And I gained 5 pounds in Tennessee and I was stuck and it would not come off. And finally I took my list into my trainer of what I ate over the past 2.5 days. The trainer examined it, had a little chat with me about the fact that I drink 6 cups of coffee in a day and can't figure out why my blood pressure is low. Frankly, I can't either, and I don't care because I'm not stopping the coffee. And but analyzed my diet and said, the problem is right here, change that. I have 4 of the 5 pounds off, and it came off really fast. And there is a person who has more knowledge than I do, that all I need to do is go ask that person, because he's more than willing to help me. He's a doll. Why wouldn't he help me? And he dusted everything, took extra time, and just worked with me on that, pointed out what I needed to do, and you know, solved it. And yep, so you're right. It's and not that you just use people for stuff, but I don't ask people often enough for help for stuff. And people want to help, and I love helping people. Why wouldn't people love helping me? That makes perfect sense, you know? So like that.
So I have a tool that I would like to share with you, but I'm having such a hard time finding exactly what email I need to send things to you.
Oh,
what would it be?
Gina, Gina, Gina is my hero at gmail.com.
Is my hero.
Yep. That one will go through to me no matter what.
At Gmail.
Yep. Looking forward to it. All right.
Okay.
Anybody have anything? Anna, you've been quiet. But I never know. Sometimes you have a lot of life going on.
I love you. I do love. I'm just nervous for Monday. Sorry.
Don't be sorry. I understand the nervous.
Thank you. I love you. But I also can't miss these sessions because you're my calm in the storm. So thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Oh, I was just saying I also can't miss these sessions because you're my calm in the storm.
I love you. I
love you.
Really nice. It really is. I hope that this is encouraging for everybody, uplifting, that there's some tools, that it just always is a benefit and a plus. And because I know that, well, one, I know that I like giving, but 2, that I know that I get, oh my gosh, the things, the tools that people have taught me. Kay in particular is one that has taught me some serious stuff on how to deal with people. Like, there's a famous thing, and I have taught so many people that, and that's the beauty of knowledge, is that you shouldn't be a dead end. It should spill out all over the place. And your tool, somebody does one thing one time, and that is all you ever do, is take the next right step. And I'm like, that is flipping brilliant. And I have used it with so many people in my life. Yeah, it's just, so it's like a wheel, and you guys feed my soul and help me learn and grow so much faster than I ever could by myself, ever. So.
And you do the same for us. So greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, right back at you. Okay, guys, is there anything else before I let you guys go and tear into our Fridays? Yes, I know. Happy Friday. Happy weekend.
Happy Friday, guys.
Happy Friday weekend. So
I'm going to tear up Sky Slope.
you go, girl. We love that. All right. Have great weekends, y'all.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.